Mrs. Debian Daly Rukugu. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Week of Excellence Journalism Forum under the theme, Navigating the Maze of Modern Journalism. I'm Marlene Freeman. Today, our esteemed guests will guide us through the nuances of the journalistic landscape while providing a few tips and tricks for our future journalists in the audience. And I see a lot of future journalists in the audience, so I know that you guys will find this very interesting. I need you to pay attention because we will be having a giveaway, big prizes and surprises, guys, at the end. And all you have to do is write the best headline based on the presentation. Also, for our second prize, we will be doing an anchor challenge. All you have to do is write a little story about the presentation, no more than 1 minute and 30 seconds, of course. And of course, you will be required to present it. So guys, please pay attention. Without further ado, it is time for me to introduce our speaker, a source of immense pride and joy from the Department of Communication Studies. She graduated with magna cum laude honors from the class of 2023. She was a former Sagicor scholar, and a two-time recipient of the prestigious Governor General's, I believe, scholarship, a Burgundy Jacket holder nominee, and a Gold Scholar Platinum honoree. But she didn't just excel in the classroom. For those of us who know her, we know. During her tenure at NCU, she served as the editor of NCU, Hilltop Trumpet, and host of Topics on the Hill and other NCU-related activities and events. She also served as a producer for DCS General Meetings. As a multifaceted, talented young lady, she also delves into the world of poetry, showcasing her creativity as a dub poet. Her vibrant and sociable nature, coupled with her profound passion for writing, has propelled her into the heart of the media industry, as she is currently making a mark as a journalist and reporter at CVM TV. Her versatility knows no bounds, as she also excels in the realm of event hosting and emceeing. She lives by the philosophy: what the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the master calls a butterfly. And like those words by Richard Bach, she embodies the transformative spirit of resilience and growth, where what may seem like the end is merely the beginning of a beautiful metamorphosis. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Trishagaye Kelly.
All right, thank you, Marlene, for that lovely introduction. I've never been introduced that well before. I feel like a star. Thank you. Well prompted to present. Hi, everybody. It's good to be back. Not in person. Wish it was in person. Miss Daly, you gotta arrange that for next time. But I'm not gonna hold you guys long because it's almost prime time for us here in the newsroom. And you may hear a little noise here and there because people are rustling. We have a new program as well that started yesterday. So let me get in it. I'm a little bit old, so allow me to navigate the space, please. Let me try. I'm seeing it here. Let me know if you're seeing it. Everybody seeing my screen?
Yes, we're seeing it.
All right. So let's get right into it. It's not going to be a long presentation. I may talk a lot, but I don't like having people a lot. So it's the life of the journalist, and we're going to be focusing on pretty much this, all these things, my personal experience, some years rather into the field, being a journalist online and what that entails, and just some tips and tricks that you can use to maneuver the space. And then we'll have a short question and answer, of course. I know connection may be unstable, but if I fall off, I will switch to my phone. But moving right along. So personal experience. What has that been like for me? As you can see on the screen, journalism, rough. And it stays that way. I remember my first day here, I was expecting to do like a one story and then, you know, chill for the rest of the day. It was not like that. We had someone who came in and said he had some problems with a specific person in government who I will refuse to name now. And he said they have made strides on trying to, let's say, kill him. That's what he did say. So that was quite a big story that I did not want to take up on my first day, especially because I don't know the first thing about protecting myself in terms of, I know, giving balance, but I don't want to write such a story that is serious that could get me into trouble because this man is accusing someone in government of wanting to kill him because of work he had done and was not compensated, allegedly. But I had to do that. Eventually, I did get the story done with the help of my supervisor, and it never bad. It never bad. But on a day-to-day basis, that's pretty much what you do. However, as I keep saying, journalism is rough. There are days when you come in and you don't want to write because you're just tired of writing about murders and you're tired of seeing people crashing and you're tired of seeing the blood and all of that. And you hope to come in and see some happy stories, like soft stories. Give me soft stories any day and I'll do them. But it's a challenge to come in and do gruesome murders and all of these things every day. But as I said, it's fun. There is a fun aspect of journalism, and I think it's what keeps you going. It's the fact that there are good stories, as well as when you're doing a bit of investigative reporting and you realize that government people may be lying to cover themselves, but they don't realize that as the journalist, you're coming to them about something because you already know the answer to it and you have the evidence. You just need them to say it. And I think that's so funny to me because why are you gonna lie? Why are you going to lie? And we all have the evidence here, but that's fine. It's their job. It's PR's job. No bash to the PR people on here. It's PR's job to pretty it up. It's our job to reveal it. All right, so we're going to move right along. The journey has been quite the tale, and I'm going to move into the challenges. One, journalism never stops. That's because news never stops. Even when you leave work, still working. If something happens on the road while I'm going home, well, I pray something doesn't happen every day. If I'm out enjoying myself, I pray nobody end up in trouble because I want to enjoy myself. I don't want to report. I'm here as a regular citizen. I'm not a reporter. But as I said, journalism doesn't stop. At every minute, there's something happening. And even though I'm speaking to you now at 2:27, if something comes in now, we have to write it. If it's 6:30 and breaking news comes in, someone has to write it because it's news and we all have to do it. So it's an ongoing thing. It's never ending. It's a cycle, but one that we love. It's also a dog-eat-dog feel because let me tell you, the people from TVJ will take your story. They're afraid to take it, which is why we try to break stories as soon as we get them. However, the rush to be factual may catch you up, which is why we have to ensure we have the correct data. You don't want to be pushing out news first and yes, you get it out first and people see it, but what happens when they see it and it's the wrong information? Better you never put it out at all, right? So we have to be mindful of that. I remember on election day, local government elections, there were TVJ reporters walking with us as well. And I was going in there with high expectations that, you know, they were going to bum rush the people we wanted to interview and all of these things. But surprisingly, it was not like that. Thank God. No need to fight people. It was quite orderly. We all decided, all right, we're going to interview this person first, then we're going to move to this location. Never all that bad, you know? things can get quite rough in the field. But we'll see what happens for the incoming or upcoming elections. It can get chaotic. There are days here where everybody's running up and down and you don't want to see the newsroom at that time. People shout, supervisors shout at you to get your stories out. They shout at you when your editor has not finished editing the story you may have sent up hours ago, although that is not your fault. It gets quite serious in the newsroom and you don't take it personal. Is it just the same way you don't take things personal on production? It's the same rule applies here. Don't take things personal in the newsroom. People are gonna cuss you out. Editors will blame you for things you didn't do. Supervisor jump down at you. Graphics mess up your story. You may be in the newsroom watching your story happening and you see something you never put in there. And you want to tell off everybody, but you have to just hold your composure. That happens a lot. And moving to these challenges, moving to mental health, we're going to spend a little time on that because journalism is not for the weak. And I say that intentionally because a lot of you will be coming into the field thinking that, yeah, a crime and stuff, I love see murder, I love see blood, because there are people who are like that. You have people who enjoy writing murder stories. It's not that they're happy that people have died, but they can manage gruesome content and it gets them excited and gets their passion going. But it also takes a toll on your mental health after a while because it tries to dehumanize you. And it doesn't even do it intentionally, it just happens because it's the field you're in. Almost every day we have people, well, we get information in the group and videos of people who are dead or are dying or have crashed and a bag of things. And I actually have stuff to show you. I'm hoping it's just a little thing. I'm hoping we can pause the recording, not stop it, because I don't think we'd want to catch this on the recording. So let me know if that's possible, please. It's just to show you what you see on TV versus what we see, because of course the laws and the media ethics don't allow us to show certain graphic images or videos on TV. But if you know your heart is not strong, please, people, close your eyes, close your eyes a little bit, or signal to me how many persons are go back to the recording. Right. But apart from all of that, it's actually fun. You know, yeah, you see bodies every day. I think what's the worst I've seen that has shook me? There was a lady whose body parts literally came off, like her foot was over here, another part was somewhere else. That was very traumatizing. And we also received a video of two men, like one that we saw here, two men whose heads were cut off, but this time they had placed their heads on a table as if they were serving it, and they left the cigarettes in their mouths. So I believe that was kind of like gang feud to show the gangs that, yes, we may have murdered your people, right? And that's what gangs do. However, we couldn't show that at all on TV. Couldn't blur that at all, couldn't show it. That could not go on TV. But after a while, it takes a toll on you. There are days when I am a bally girl. If you know me, you know me love ball. I go home and cry about it because that's my only way to vent about it. Cry about the fact that we have to report on these things every day. Don't know why people are killing each other. But it does take a toll on your mental health. We don't have a therapist. We should, but we don't have one. I'm not sure if they're working to get us one. Hopefully that's the case, but we don't have one right now. But in all of this, in all the bad, I've not come to traumatize you. I've come to tell you that journalism is still fun, still something you want to do if you're passionate about it. So you got depressed a little or a lot, but you're like an investigator with benefits because you get to talk to people about things. You have to rally around government people. It's about networking as well as making your stride in the industry. And as I said before, you go to them with evidence. They don't know you have the evidence, but you go to them knowing you have it in the back of your head, and they try to cover it up, but we already have it. which makes your story actually more interesting because you're saying you didn't do this, but here's the evidence to show it. So who's lying? So that's what makes it fun for me. And of course, feature stories. I love features. And if you've been following my work, even though I hardly post it, and I'll comment on that soon, I did a story with a cancer patient recently. And it was to highlight that she's in the force, but she needs surgery to recover from, there's a big hole in her face. You can literally see down into her throat. And I had to do that story for them. But for me, that story is what brought the journalist out in me. And that was my first ever real connection with the field. And it just made me, I was not a journalist when I went there to interview her. I was more of someone who was just hearing her story and was willing to help. And because of that, I wrote the story based on how I felt about her situation. And a week after, the JCF learned of the story because of my story, and they donated $3 million to her. A week after that, her division in the JCF donated $1 million. And I believe 1 or 2 weeks after that, the San Myrna Foundation decided to pay the rest of it. And currently she's in Mexico on treatment. So of course, I'm submitting that story for PAJ, of course. And I have another story similar to that where assistance was rendered, but I must give credit to Britannia. I think Britannia is on, Britannia Witter, who would have brought that story to our attention. And I believe Food for the Poor is working to have some assistance rendered to that person. Not bringing that part out so soon, but big up yourself, Britannia, because that story is actually making rounds. Natalia is here as well, who is a DCSer. And if she wants to come and sit, she can come and sit. In the interim, moving on to something else. How do you transition from DCS to the field? It's not that hard, because when you're coming from a department like DCS, come on, people. You have it, you are experienced, you're multifaceted, you've been to places where you've had your internship, and that is why I encourage people to volunteer. Volunteerism will bring in, I believe my first act of volunteerism was in second year. Yeah, second year when I started working camera on productions. For those of you who don't know, by the way, that's my favorite job on any production, even though I don't get to do it anymore. Camera operator, give me that any day. Yeah, Natalia, please go away. Please stop hyping me up. But volunteer, people, anything you can do. As you heard in the introduction, I did hosting, and I have to big up DCS for that too, because I believe I started hosting DCS general meetings. Like I hosted one first. They saw my potential. Somebody asked me to fill in for Amoy Harriet, who is a past DCSer who is now at JNN, I believe, TVJ. And I had to fill in for her on one given episode. And ever since, I became one of the hosts. And from there, NCU saw that and said, okay, we'll make you the host for many NCU events. And that's how I got exposure from there. And from that, I got calls to MC programs outside of NCU. So you have to learn to volunteer. It pays off in the end, and it's going to benefit you in the field. I encourage you to be active in the department. Produce where you can. As you can see in this image, it's me. And Akeem is there as well. Akeem, please don't kill me. Akeem, I believe, is still the producer for general meetings. I passed the baton on to him, and I believe he's doing a great job. I trained him well enough. Akeem. Yeah, but I produced then, and because of that, I'm able to produce now. I was actually given the opportunity to produce midday news here at CVM TV. Yeah. As you can see, I'm the only female in the studio at this point. In a male-dominated industry, females, you have to work for your position. Don't make nobody tell you nothing. You go through it legally and you make your way up. Yeah, so that was me producing. But apart from that, I'm not the only one doing things here in your industry, and other DCS are making strides. That's Natalia, guys. She made her debut yesterday on Midday News. I was actually teleprompting. See, let me tell you again, you have to learn to volunteer. I volunteered at CVM one day to teleprompt. I learned how to do it and I've been doing it now. That was Natalia. Yeah. Funny story. Our regular midday news presenter wasn't feeling well yesterday. And she said, Natalia, you've been in training. Go get the job done. And she angled that. Triangled that. So I encourage you, of course, to be active because it's going to help you in the field. No matter where or what you do on a production, it's going to help you. Just volunteer where you can. Volunteer to assist the producer, assist the camera person, assist the host in preparing. Just assist. It don't matter how. Just play your part. And eventually when people see your skill, they will want to recommend you. And that's actually how I got recommended for so many internships. I started off producing Watch and Win one summer at TVJ. I went to I didn't go over there, but I did an international internship with UME Radio. And I learned about streaming from your home and having an online studio, which I wasn't previously introduced to. I went to Sports Max where I learned scheduling and did a bit of graphics, and boy, I would not go back in graphics. I went to Jamaica Tourist Board, got a little bit of the PR side of things, communications wise. I went to CAD, that's Court Administration Division, where I did PR as well there. And I'm here at CVM doing journalism. So pretty much we run around the entire industry, and I'm now in the journalism field where I'm doing what I love to do, fighting to find the love in it, but but still doing what I love. And it's been quite a journey. So I believe time is winding down. Let me check. Yes. What's next? Let's see. The reporter online. People, it's easy to comment on things, and I'm glad Natalia is here because I remember last year when the Reggae Girls, I believe, played a match, but they had lost terribly, horribly. And the headline must have said worthless Reggae Girls. Something like that.
No, it was
Is it worthless?
No, it was
another word.
Football thing.
Yes, but it's a term they use in football to say that they weren't playing well or they missed their chances that they could have taken. And believe me jump down on the story because me I say, oh, call the people and people worthless. They played nonetheless. But at the time, I was ignorant to the fact that that's a term they use in sports. Sports is a whole different ball field. They talk to people harsh over there. A few of you can go into sports. I know Jordan, I believe, ventured into sports. Big up yourself, Jordan. Yeah, but Natalia had commented. Natalia had commented on that. She even went to look for the message that it's a term they often use. But I still come me, I try to explain to her. I said, I think them could have used, me I said, them could have used something else. At least give the lady them credit. But, you know, with ignorance, people wink at it, but they also educate you. And that's the good thing about it. And she took the opportunity to educate me. Yeah, kind of rudely, but that's Natalia. I was accustomed to that. So that's fine. But you have to, apart from all of that, online, you have to ensure that you aren't being biased. You know, limit showing your bias. And I put especially with political matters, because even though you may vote for one party and you're a strong supporter, the public cannot know because government officials are watching you. No matter how much you think they're not watching because they don't follow you, they're watching your every step, so that as soon as they slip up, them can say CVM, not Trishagaye, CVM. And then CVM brand tarnished. So you have to keep abreast of that. You carry one side, you have to carry the next. As well as be sure to carry the facts, because you may be reposting something online. You want to ensure that you have all the details you need and you're not going to post no wrong nothing, because as I said, people are watching you. And when I say that, I mean, you have people who know that you're a reporter now. So yeah, we can look for factual information from you. So anything you post, they run with. And you don't want it to be a repeat of what some citizen journalists have. So just check the facts. Anything you're commenting on, ensure you have all of the things. And as you can see, poor editing, because that should have been matter. But But I don't have an editor. I was up doing this after 12 last night, after getting home. So please pardon me. I tried. Right. But aside of all of that, journalism is good. And though I did show you the sad part of it, I'm also going to show you the good. I believe we have some fun videos. Let me skip from the gruesome. All right, so this now was a little bit funny to me because you can't park there, sir. How the car end up over there, I don't know. But weird things happen that we kind of lightens the mood. Along with this, we get exclusive footage of what happens like in the storm when other people couldn't go out there to capture all of this. Our brave correspondents were out there doing the work. This is a political scene. You're hearing Ramon Gordon, by the way.
Why Miss Foster?
Huh?
Why are you supporting Miss Foster?
Because she's the best counselor and she will be going back.
All right.
I don't know. This lady is particularly fun to me because she's everywhere. There's never a JLP conference where you go and she's not there. The reporter you're hearing in the background is Ramon Gordon, who's also a presenter here, also a past DCSer. Yes, the DCSers are winning. Yeah, so you know, say there's a spot out here for you guys. We're highly recommended in the field, and there's a reason for that. So yeah, I also have another lady
All right.
from. Oh, this is a man. This is particularly funny because he's saying that he's happy Cartel has come to the streets when Cartel is still behind bars. The charges may have been dropped for a retrial or an acquittal, but he's not freed. And I think that's a thing that many Jamaicans had misconstrued when the stories came out. He's not free, guys, but all of Gaza was celebrating that the man is out. However, these are the things we encounter in journalism. I believe there's one final lady. Oh no, she did not make it. That happens in news too. They don't all make it. We have to drop stories last minute and take the stronger ones. Let's move on. Let's see what's next. All right. Finally, tips and tricks. Be attentive. If it's one thing, they're going to say journalists love to speak. Yeah, we love chat. And they're going to tell you that we're fast. It's not a lie. Eavesdrop. When you're in the taxi, eavesdrop. You get a lot of stories from people's stories. So you listen to the taxi man complain, say, boy, you know, them raise the fear, but still a fear pay certain money to extortionists. That's a story. You may not be able to use his thing because he didn't give it to you freely, so you can't record him or anything like that. But you would have gotten a story there and you can do your investigation. Anything that impacts you as a citizen impacts others. So you just think about yourself as a citizen. Right, yeah. So you put yourself in the citizen's shoes. You pass through a certain place, it doesn't smell too right. Of course, it's impacting other people too. They're smelling it, which means it's a problem for them as well. That's a story. And that brings me to learning from your pioneers. There are people who have been in this field for years, 20 odd years, probably years we won't be in the field for because we're Gen Z people and apparently we don't stay anywhere too long. But they will teach you a lot about things. My experience here, I've learned from many people. Carlin Brown is a stalwart here. She's taught me many things, especially with voicing. Well, when I just come, my voice did rough. Still rough, but them sound country. So I'm working on that. I had to get a lot of training and Carlin really helps me to develop that little oomph in the voice. So be willing to learn from the pioneers in the field, and they don't even have to be long-standing members. Anybody who is willing to teach you, be willing to learn. That's how I learned a lot of things here at CVM. That's how I started producing. I did enough and go in a newsroom when news are gone. That's how I learned teleprompting because I was looking at the little toy thing one day and I decided to move it and I realized the prompter moved and not until I got it. That's how I learned to work SOT room, which is where we play clips from because I did enough and go around there, go ask them. And pretty much how I've learned everything else here. Just be enough. Occupy space. You have to know when you're too much, you know. There's a limit. But occupy. Bloom. They plant you somewhere, bloom. You're a DCSer, people already want you in the field. All you have to do is prove what you've learned. And Miss Daly, of course, don't want to bring no bad news from the people in the department. So do your best. Just be a DCSer. You have the experience, you have the talent, you have the knowledge. shine. Yeah, shine. And with that, I should ask now if you have any questions for me. I already said this pretty much. It's about passion. But do you have any questions? If you do, you can feel free to open your mic and ask. That's the end of my presentation. I hope I didn't talk too much. My throat is dry. Natalia, go and do your story. All right, let me stop sharing. People, I'm getting old. Oh, me stop this now. Okay, I've stopped it. Yeah.
Seems as if Miss Daly has a question.
Miss Daly, go ahead.
Okay. There are two questions, but I'll start with one. I'm sure you left last year with certain expectations. Have those expectations been met? And if so, how?
I came expecting one. Let's talk about the main one. First of all, people, I know you're thinking about the money. And a lot of people think that because your face is on TV, you're making a lot of money. Let me tell you, it's not like that. You make a livable wage, okay? And it works. It works, but you're not making a high bag of money where you can go sprawl off the next year into and retire, no, or resign, no. It's more about the passion that keeps you going. So you have to have some of that. So don't enter journalism with money thoughts because it'll go fail you. Sooner or later, you're going to realize. What other expectation did I come with? I expected that I would be able to choose my own beat. You know, like how you get to choose beat in a Mr. Mackenzie class? I say you're going to focus on entertainment. Yeah, that's not how it works. You kind of have to do the crime too, and not just the features and stuff. So you have to take that into consideration. I believe those were my two highest expectations. I may never expect to be so depressed. Yeah.
You're depressed?
I'm sometimes depressed, but I find ways to make it work. Just do things that you love to do and it will be better for you. Yeah. I hope that answered your question, Miss Daly.
Oh.
Any other questions?
Question though, because I know you would have will always be giving DCS the credits, and you're saying that we're equipped and all of that. Do you think you were really ready for journalism? I mean, you're pointing out that depression and all of that, but in terms of skills, did you have to relearn or learn new things to kind of fit? Apologies.
I hear the baby singing, but I get the point. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yes. I think it's a twofold thing. One, yes, you were prepared adequately. You know what you're coming in the field for. You have the knowledge and the experience. What you're not prepared for is the fact that it may be so gruesome. DCS cannot prepare you for that because DCS is not going to bring you on a crime scene and say report. They aren't allowed to do that, right? So as with any other thing, there are things that you'll just have to learn on the job. And with a job like this, you have to come on the crime scene to see what unfolds. You have to get the content in the newsroom and discover the chaos when news come a couple minutes before news time, and you have to write the story nonetheless. You just have to learn on the job. But DCS definitely prepares you for what you need to do. One DCS, never two. Go ahead, Daniela.
You were speaking about it earlier, but what's something that you have learned on the job? And excuse me, I'm a little hoarse, I'm a little sick.
And that's fine, girl. But drink up your stuff because your voice is your job, as Nika would say. If you lose the voice, then you don't have a job. So don't lose the voice. What is one thing I've learned? All right. In news, we do not technically friend people in news. They are not your friends. Some of them are your co-workers. Other people are sources. And with that, especially, do not give away your sources, people, especially if it's a specific type of story where the source cannot be known. Don't give it away and tell one person and the next person tells somebody else and you're in trouble. All right? I've learned that it's a job that comes with complications, but you have to accept it. And I will say this now. I told one person who featured me recently, journalism is a bit scary I have been stalked. I don't even know if I'm still being stalked right now, but traveling each morning a couple of weeks ago, there was someone waiting where I await my driver to get to work every morning. And as soon as I leave, the vehicle leaves, it doesn't pick anyone up. And it's fully tinted, can't see inside there, everywhere tinted. So it was quite concerning. So I had to change my meeting spot. It's scary, but it's fun. I've learned that you have to embrace it. If it's your passion, you have to embrace it. You just find other ways to do what you do. And challenges will come. Some days you'll feel like you're not doing a good enough job and you do some mediocre story. Yeah, but you just get back up the other day. Natalia is very moody in here, but she does that every day. You get back up and come with powerful stories the next day. Yeah, so you learn that over time. I hope I answered the question, Daniela. All right, Solandi, or was it Janelle? It was Janelle. Go ahead, Janelle.
All right. So on the topic of being depressed, so earlier you said we do not have a counselor.
Mhm.
We as in CVM or we as in Jamaican journalists?
I cannot speak to other media houses. I'm not sure. You know, if TV different have counselors, I don't think they do either. We should have.
They recommend that we get
Right.
counseling, but they don't.
Me don't have money to get my own counseling. We don't have that yet. So until then, we speak to the Lord who solves all the problems right now. But we should have counseling. We don't have it as yet, but we should. Yeah.
We don't like blood and curry.
Yeah, otherwise though, you can speak to close friends about it, which is what I have done. Big up KTKM. You speak to your friends who you're able to vent to about it. And that sometimes helps. Other times you can just bawl and pray. Bawl in our life, a little. A lot. So Landy.
Yes, my question is, on an average, what is your day like and how many stories do you write typically in a day?
Most days the aim is to write 2 stories. It may sound a little, but you're right, it takes hours not to just write the story, but probably to produce it and to get your sources. Because sometimes, believe me, these people promise you an interview, and when it's time for the interview, then I answer phone, then block you. We've been blocked many times, okay? We've been blocked. But on an average, 2 stories, sometimes 1, and on days like that, we celebrate. Sometimes more than that. Sometimes you have to do 3 stories, even 4. It depends sometimes. I've told you that sometimes stories come in minutes before news, and we have to probably just take a shot out of it, and a shot is a bite. Yeah, so we don't always get to do packages. But most days it's 2 stories. Yeah. Jordine, I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
Yes, you are pronouncing it right. My question is, now that you're in the media job system, for lack of a better word, what are jobs that you see or that aren't mentioned enough that you can do with a journalism degree that isn't being a journalist?
I love this question. You know why? Because a journalist can do anything in communications. Anything. Journalists you can write. So you're automatically a PR person right now because you write. Press releases are basically stories just written in a different format. Journalists can also go on TV, right? You can do TV hosting because you know how to speak to people. And with PR as well, communication specialists, a lot of our people are in that aspect of the field. Yeah, and we do that too. Yeah, and you get experience. And for radio, of course, we're in that too, because we can speak. So there's literally nothing that there's nothing I can pinpoint that we can't do as journalists in media. You can go into any part of the field and excel. Yeah, and social media managing as well, because we do have to, and sometimes we have to post our own content, so you have to learn to do that as well. And we do a little bit of editing. Even though techniques of video editing is not mandatory for TV students, I don't know if that's changed, but it was mandatory for us. And yeah, that did actually help me. I've edited a couple of stories upstairs myself when the editors tend to make my mood a little slow. Yeah, Natalia didn't even know. Yeah, I go up there and edit my stories sometimes when things are moving a little slow. Yeah, Daniela, I'm seeing your hand back up. Not sure if you have another question.
I ask this to every journalist. How are you balancing work life, personal life?
What personal life? Let's just say that right there. Because listen, when you come into journalism, pretty much there's no personal life. I was at the beach on Monday. I mean, I pray to God so nobody not drown. Cause me not write no story. I'm here to enjoy myself like you guys. But if something happens on the road while you're going home, you kind of do have a duty to stop, get the story, and bring it in. Because it look bad if you pass it and the next day supervisor come, you know, some here, something happened down there, so and you literally passed it and didn't get anything on it. So you try and get something. But in terms of balance, you have to be deliberate about finding time for yourself in journalism. I live very far. I don't get home until late in the evenings. Pretty much when I get home, bathe, sleep, wake up back, do the same thing. So on my days off, I try not to do any chores either because I'm very tired. I either don't do any chores or I go out. That's my safe space. Somebody asked what my work hours are like. We come in from 10 to 6. That isn't really 6 because we don't leave here until 7 most days. And on a 2-week basis, we switch early morning shift when we come in at 9 to produce midday news. Yeah, but on the regular, it's 10 to 6. And that's a pro, because who wants to wake up early? Well, I wake up early nonetheless because I live far, but they don't have to. So yeah, it's 10 to 6, and that's pretty good. Miss Daly?
Which non-journalism course, you think back, you think has helped you in your transition into what you're doing now?
I'd say voice and diction was one, even though she did almost fail me for that. But I didn't see why, but me never get the grade or me didn't want it, but I didn't correct people. I passed and I got above the C+, 1 DCS. So voice and diction was very helpful, as well as both the fundamental news writing courses were helpful because I think it teaches you how to find sources, and it may have seemed hard at that time to find sources, and yes, the government people not gonna answer me, but a few of them do. And you have links too. You have graduates here who can give you contacts for people who you can call and get your information from. So news writing did help. Script writing though, not script writing, what's that called? Writing and reporting for broadcast. Love that class. I actually love that class. Yeah, it gave me, I was very excited for every assignment because you get to report and do the actual stuff. And I believe that made me come out of my shell a little bit more and prepare me for what I'm doing now. Those courses. Alia.
All right, so you mentioned you live far. Are you still in Mandeville, traveling to Kingston? Or...
No, love, I live in Linstead. I gotta cross the bridge every day.
Okay.
No, I live in Linstead, yeah. All right. Seems like that's the end of the questions. Thank you guys for having me. It was lovely to be here. See y'all at LVFF, hopefully. Natalia has a question to them.
To you.
Okay, go ahead. Go on fast, Natalia. We have story.
What do you love most about the job? Like, would you actually recommend media?
No, Natalia, you have to show your pretty face. Come, girl. I'm gonna see
Yeah, come,
come here. Come over.
Yeah, the people I see on TV yesterday. Come over.
I was asking her, hi guys, Natalia Clark here. I was asking her to share what she loves most about the job and if this is something that she would actually recommend to people. Given all the cons, is it something you would actually recommend to young people in university?
All right, I'd recommend it only on the basis if it's your passion. Otherwise, you're not going to survive journalism. And personally, what has helped me, and I think this will surprise Natalia, the best part about my job every day is coming to see them. It's not the job, it's my co-workers who are fun and we have vibes and they're very sociable. They may have their moody days, especially her, but we're a group of people who have been close. It's more like family now, and they help me to, push through the days. So it's not even my job or my passion that's bringing me, but my co-workers more. So I'm hoping they don't leave, because I'll have to fall back on the passion at that time. And I don't want to leave it solely on the passion because it's dwindling. So That's what has helped me. But I would recommend it. If journalism is your passion, if you love to write and report, then if you're enough and love people business, definitely pursue.
Lastly, Trishagaye, for me, what other field do you see yourself in? Maybe outside of media, teaching, maybe what else? No,
To be,
because
to be honest, I don't see myself outside of media. No matter how much I think about it, I've always wanted to be a media girly. So even if it's not journalism, it's probably going to be something in PR or hosting. I do hosting on the side, so I may go further into that if the opportunities arise. But I don't see myself outside of media, to be honest. I may have to think about that though, if things don't work out here, because make me start overthink this now. I may have to go think about that now. But for now, I am staying in the field. Yeah. If there are no further questions, guys, one DCS.
One DCS.
Never two.
Never two.
Thank you for having me. I'm going to shut my mouth now.
Thank you so much, Trishagaye. Marlene?
Wow, what a beautiful presentation. Personally for me, it was the part with the gruesome things that I had to see, and I kind of did this. And now I'm trying to get my mouth to go this way instead of Sam. But it was good. It was informative, guys. I know you all can agree with that. And I see it on your faces that you did enjoy the presentation. So we want to say a big thank you to you, Trishagaye Kelly, for coming and just giving us the scoop inside what it is really about in the field of journalism. At this time, guys, remember that we have the game. So it's a headline game. And I will be giving you 2 minutes to write the best headline you can for this program here right now. And the judges will be Mrs. Orukubu, Miss Daly, and Trishagaye Kelly, of course. So 2 minutes, guys, for you to write the best headline you possibly can.
The fact that you just asked me to do that, I was about to try the headline, but then you made me a judge. Make Natalia the judge.
Remember the
Natalia
prize,
I want to
guys.
try it too, but I don't understand you. You eliminate me.
No, miss, your prize is coming,
My prize is
yes. All right, guys, 2 minutes.
And while you're writing, I'm just acknowledging something in the chat. Do not turn to drinking for true, guys. A lot of journalists are actually suicidal. A lot of them actually kill themselves. And there are a couple overseas who have done so. I'm not sure about in Jamaica, but there are a few who succumb to the pressures. But vent, all right, vent. Go ahead and write the headline, people.
Okay, judges, I think we have some in the chat. Please to check them and decide among yourselves who the winner is. Not seeing any more currently. Next, we'll move on.
No, another one is coming.
Okay, no problem.
Another headline is coming.
Okay, in the meantime, I'll just reintroduce to you the news anchor game. And all you have to do is write a little story about the presentation. Should be like 1 minute or 1 minute and 30 seconds. And because I told you guys about it prior to starting, I think that we can give you like an additional 3 minutes to do so. So that 3 minutes starts now. While our judges tell who the winner is for for the headline game.
All right. So Trisha and Debbie, I'm going to message you.
Okay.
We're going a bit over time. My apologies, Miss Daly.
No, 1 second. Is it 1 prize or 2? Because 1 second.
As in, there's a prize for the news anchor game, and there's also a prize for the headline game.
Okay.
Just giving the judges a few more seconds to decide. In the meantime, what I'll do, I'll just remind you of some very important dates that we have coming up. So as we know it, DCS Week of Excellence is coming up and it runs from April 6th to the 10th. And of course, on the 15th. Or is it the 14th? 14th. So our church service and social is April 6th. That's Saturday coming. A bus will take you to the venue and the first pickup will be at 8:15 a.m. at Thai Center. So please be reminded of that and also remember to bring your social clothing with you. Community Convo is on April 7th. Global Connections, which is virtual, is on April 8th. Showcase My DCS is on April 9th. Symposium, virtual, and Affirmation. Time is up, guys. Symposium and Affirmation is on April 10. And of course, we have Lignum Vitae Film Festival on April 14th. So guys, please remember those dates, keep them in mind, and ensure that you are present. Okay, judges, go ahead.
Go ahead, Trisha.
All right, so after long pondering, because you are all so talented, we came down to two, and those were Marika's and Britannia's. So the unspoken traumas of journalism, as well as journalism rough, CVM presenter tells her story. However, we had to choose one, which meant we had to go more in detail. And unfortunately, one word threw Britannia's off because she called me a presenter. And that would have made the story wrong because I'm not a presenter, I'm a reporter. All right, guys, you have to know the difference. A presenter is the person who reads the news. All right. So just like the anchor, we call them presenters as well. I'm not a presenter, not yet at least. I'm just a reporter now and a producer for my stories. All right. So for that, we gave Marika the edge. So congratulations, Marika.
Okay, Marika, woo! You've won yourself $500 worth of credit. Man, I wish that was me. Anyway, as it relates to the news anchor game, I'm not seeing any stories. Anybody did right? Anybody should set to repair DigiLoan. That's right. Anybody wrote like a news story that they want to share at this time? We're running out of time.
I have not graph.
Pardon?
I have the nut graph.
So you have a story to share
That's
with us.
it.
Okay, go ahead. You can go ahead, Sharon. Anybody else wrote a story? Seems as if Shari will
Please
also.
to bear in mind that I don't have an editor.
So you won't be doing it?
She didn't say she's not going to do it. She said, bear in mind, she doesn't have an editor. So
Okay, no problem. Go ahead. You have no competition anyway.
Okay. So, Trishagaye Kelly, a CVM reporter, shares her story of being in the field since graduating from NCU. Kelly spoke of being aware and the benefits of being factual. She also highlighted that journalism is a passion field and you have to love what you do. My first day was hectic. ... That's all I have because I started a quote.
No, Shari, come on. Sorry.
You're not done.
Okay, anybody else? Anybody else has something? Well, if Shari is the only one in the competition, then she has to win, right? Judges?
By default.
By default. So Sharian, you've won yourself the grand prize of $1,000 credit.
Look
Man,
at that. Wow.
life
But
can be
Shari,
so easy.
an advice when you're writing a story, of course, you cannot start it with one name. So it's not the last name or the first name if you haven't established who I am. So they don't know. The people them don't know who you're calling Kelly or Trishagaye because you haven't told them who I am. So that's a tip. But good job, guys. When I have potential, just go out there and use it.
I was about to say amen. Anyway, thank you very much to everyone who is here. Thank you for joining our Week of Excellence Journalism Forum under the theme Navigating the Maze of Modern Journalism. Trishagaye did share with us some very important things that we ought to note before going in the field. And so we thank her once more. Until next time, until next year, for the next Journalism Forum, I'm your host, Marlene Freeman. Take care.